You're listening to Late Night Radio on the SHR Media Network. Caution, there will be mature themes explored and potentially adult language used. If conservatarian words, phrases, certain concepts, or rhetoric offends you, tune out now.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free.
I have come here to chew bubble gum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubble.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, 14 people watching live right now at the very inception of the show. And I want to tell you already, I'm being undermined by the underminers, by the people who are saying in private chat things that you cannot read, saying, I love being in the back room. This is where I steal every one of BZ's socks so they don't match. And then, Sean, I'll name names, damn it. Sean says, everybody pretend to be asleep, but he brings you on. So let's see if they in fact do that. I am this guy. I happen to be, oh, here comes another one in chat. Fine. Yeah, I see where we're going. I am your conservative Sherpa, guiding you through the maelstrom of Democrat, leftist, globalist lies, chaos, deceit, and betrayal. Okay, what's in the private chat now? Jersey Joe, laughing my ass off. Sean likes it in the back room. Oh, wait, first one of the show. Jersey Joe. Nicely done. Nicely played. Nicely prepped. Okay, so I'm going to actually go back to the comments if there are. Ordnance J. Packard Esquire. First in comments. Good to see you here. And by the way, folks, I am doing the job that the American media maggots fundamentally won't. What they refuse to do. I'm changing America one leftist diaper at a time, like Michael Savage used to say, like red diaper doper babies, those kind of guys. And we don't water our drinks, just like we don't water our conversations. We talk about it all right here at the Saloon, and tonight, everything goes. By the way, I'm revealing to all that I'm not wearing anything under the desk. Oh, did you see my shirt? Let's see if you can see it. Over my beard, maybe. This is the office of FAFO, which is the Federal Agency for Financial Oversight. Nice shirt. I enjoyed it. Oh, wait until you see my shirt for next week. It'll be, okay, another one in private chat. What are you guys up to now? I just try to get you out of there because of the court order. I'm starting to think brown M&Ms may mean something different around here. Laughing my ass off. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink, Monty Python. Very nicely done. Anyway, thanks to everybody for being here. Let's install everybody. Oh, wait. Do you guys want to laugh first? Not at me. Okay. Let's do this and turn that up. Let's go.
Mr. Data, you were right. Yes, sir. I am attempting to fill a silent moment.
All right. Here I am pulling for the cheap seats already. But I want to tell you, this just, oh, no, not just then. Have you guys seen the video of the cat that actually says, oh, Long Johnson? Well, Were you aware there's a song now? I'm so easily entertained. Okay, this is where I stop it because then the guy starts singing. And when the guy starts singing, that's no fun. I just like it because of the cat. However, I have to tell you guys right now, and this is critically important.
This is an SHR Media Network special report.
And now this just in, there's video of Jerry Nadler in the catacombs of D.C. And also, this just in, this special report from Olivia Chow, who is Toronto's commie mayor. Oh, stop, Olivia. Here, there we go. Now go, Olivia. Play.
Oh, Canada, and I am shocked and appalled by a president of the United States of America, Donald Trump, talk about the annexation of Canada. This is unacceptable. As a man, we will protect Toronto with a fight to the death, using an Uber Eats driver as a restaurant defense. Bike lane will become trenches, and we will use snowballs and chicken balls to fight off the invader. Justin Trudeau has risen as a prime minister, so I have begun a discussion with a dog and a cat about I create an alliance with a furry animal to fight against invasion by the Donald Trump. I can.
And that, I want to tell you folks, that was critically important because that was our breaking news here in the special report. Now we return you to life, which is already in progress. And at this point, I'd like to say hello and welcome to Sackhead Sean from the Edge of Liberty. Welcome to you, sir.
Good evening, sir. Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
And wait, there's somebody giving you thumbs down, but there it is. There's Jersey Joe. Welcome to Jersey Joe.
How rude.
Yes.
I know. And of course, Rowdy Rick Robinson from KLRN, as it indicates, Chief Cook and Bottle Rasher for KLRN Radio.
Wait. What's going on? Sorry, I think I fell asleep.
No, you fell
He's
asleep.
the only one who went with the bit.
I know. You guys set it up.
You can do it.
You set it up. Somebody could have gone with it. Somebody could have
You
ran.
did. I knew. So I knew you were probably going to pull me in first, but I didn't know when. And you were jumping around playing videos, and you went to me first before I could actually feign being asleep, which gave the other two a chance to set up. So I was actually the martyr. And I fell in the sword for you guys. And
we use a different word around here for that, sir, because you set the bit up and then didn't even go with it. We call that being a bitch.
I know. What the hell is up with that?
You went from bit man to bitch man.
Yeah, well, if he did his normal intro like he does, and I had a few seconds, but when
are things ever normal when I'm on here with you guys? You should know.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I think he's turning into a liberal. Always everybody else's fault.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. Everybody else's fault.
Chihuahua. By the way, Mission Ready Men, Earl Big E Jackson says that he'll be joining a little later. Work interfered with play, which always sucketh.
That's
big
the
time. I find that absolutely unacceptable, totally unacceptable. For those of you let's look at the debt clock.
Oof,
Because we're looking at this point, and if you want to find it, it's
right before bed.
I know it's easy. $36.5 trillion in the national debt. Go to usdebtclock.org, and it breaks it down in an amazing way. The other thing I also
what I love is they've added the Doge clock there too. So it's
yes, I saw
actually subtracting while it's adding. So if you notice, the national debt has actually gone down a little bit from the last time I pulled it up, because we were getting really close to 3 trillion, and now it's going the other way.
So right under here, national debt, and you guys can see right there, there's the Doge clock. And if you also want to find out, because it's transparency, if you want to go to doge.gov,
I will say the don't match, which is confusing to me. But
yeah, well, we're going to get into that, as a matter of fact, because there's a lot of positive stuff going on, and there's a lot of bad stuff going on.
Real quick, Beezy, did you hear they had to rename the Enola Gay?
You know,
it's now Enola LGBTQ plus.
There was a story about the Enola Gay, and I thought, do I want to bring it here tonight? And I thought, no, I don't. You know, I'll let that story be covered by lots of other people.
It's just more a joke.
Well, except it really wasn't all that much of a joke. If you guys have read that particular story.
Except there actually is a story that's pretty.
Yeah, there is a story going around in that. Phoenix Exploration in the room. Hi, hello, good to see you.
Hey, dude.
And this just in, I wasn't sure that this was going to occur. Democrats are saying that they're going to fold on the government shutdown. So,
So was anybody really expecting them not to, though? Because here's the thing. They painted themselves into a corner.
Oh, boy.
Because they have been trying to sell this thing for a week that if it shuts down, it's the Republicans' fault, when they won't even let the thing, they were saying they weren't even going to let the thing get out of closure because Republicans didn't negotiate with them. When, I'm sorry, weren't you the party that told us just a few short years ago that elections have consequences? That's my first. That's my first. But then take this a step further, right? They realized, and unfortunately, I think it may be our fault, because a lot of conservative commentators were like, you realize if they shut the government down, it's just going to make it that much easier for Doge with a red pin, right? And I think Schumer figured it out, because there was a really heated meeting at lunch today, and everybody came out with super tight lips, and nobody would talk to the press. And apparently there were a couple of Senate critters that were heard screaming so loudly that it could be heard in the hallway. And I think that's when they got told that they're going to go ahead and fold on the closure.
Yeah, but here's the thing. He backed himself into a corner where he screwed either way.
Yes.
I always saw him going and folding, but now you got all those radicals all pissed and going after Schumer because he backed down.
Yeah, but I think that sums up the current Democratic Party, though. That's really the existence of the Democrats right now.
You know what I say about Democrats eating their own?
On the petard of their own creation.
They've learned nothing. They've learned nothing, which is
down.
It's great. I love it. But the reality is they've learned nothing, and they will continue this infighting. I've said this before on this show and others. Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer have zero control over that party. You see the squad starting to get a little bit louder again. You see people like Jasmine Crockett trying to become part of the squad and getting a little louder again. All of these, for conservatives, are wonderful things. Please, please take the party over. I want nothing more than AOC and Jasmine Crockett to run the House.
Oh, God.
Yes.
Oh, if there is a Lord God in the heavens above, please make that happen.
Yes.
On top of it, having David Hogg as co-chair, did you see some of the tweets he's put out?
Yes.
Oh my God, F this, F that. Listen, I cuss all the time. I know that, but I'm not a politician or representing a party.
But I brought this up on X the other day. one of the things you're starting to see Democrats do is use tough language more and more to seem cool, tough, and strong because they saw conservatives do it this last election. Not just pundits, but you had JD Vance drop a couple words. Every once in a while, Trump will say something rough. You have other people, which is fine. I don't care. I know it bothers some people, but I don't care. But it worked to rally their base. And now, because they've been called feckless, weak, all the things that they actually are, they're now trying this. Look, you saw the 31 different prominent elected Democrats that did the exact same video where they held the microphone and they said bullshit.
Yeah.
That was a big one of, oh, we have to use tough language, guys, because we got to show that we're fighters and we're tough. So we're all going to read the same script and say bullshit.
But
and
it makes
you're going to see it. Watch, you're going to see it more and more. They're cussing and they're strong rhetoric. I just saw Fang's lover there, Eric
Swallow.
Yeah. The other day was like, this is fucking stupid on X. And he was talking about grocery prices or whatever. And it's like, first of all, Eric, if anybody in this planet is a little pussy who could not use that language in real life, it's you.
Yeah.
So stop acting like it. You and David Hogg would dry up more vaginas than a desert sun.
So
stop trying with this
we have a
whole like,
puking sound effect. I kind of feel like we need a puking sound effect.
That's a brain worm. Oh my God. I
stop
can't
trying
get
to
that
act
out of my
like you guys
eyes.
are testosterone-filled tough guys.
Just
Because you're not.
Oh, do you want us to talk about testosterone, fake testosterone? The New York council member that was behind the police acting all tough, trying to get to Tom at home.
You
would do shit if that cop walked on the side.
Amendment. Do you believe it? But,
Like Homan was afraid of him.
Yeah,
Well,
it was the fake. Someone's in between us, so I can act real tough.
If that trooper stepped aside, you would have seen that he's the mayoral candidate.
Get back
You
here,
would have seen him piss himself, literally right there.
He would have hopped right back behind the cop. But the funny thing is, Homan's just sitting there the entire time, just like
eat an apple.
Eating an apple. Like, what you got, brother? But back to Jasmine Crockett. Sort of. Back to Jasmine Crockett, preferably becoming a leader in Congress. I only have one thing to say to that. Slavey Crockett, queen splitting your ears.
I can see. I believe there's going to be a lot of that stuff tonight. And
I think what's amazing about Jasmine, and I'm sorry, BZ, but before we get off Jasmine's the topic of Jasmine Crockett,
I just threw up in my mouth.
Never use the words "get off" and Jasmine in the same.
My favorite thing is we have seen that she was raised an upper middle class kid who went to an expensive university and spoke like a Harvard educated woman right up till it was time to get in front of a camera and start acting ghetto. She is the fakest human being in Congress. She's more fake than AOC and all the other ones, because if you watch her interviews prior to her getting in Congress, she's real polite and proper and blah, blah, blah. And now she's like, man, tough that shit, yo. And it's like, girl, seriously, I'm more ghetto than you are. I am more ghetto than you are. So cut the shit. Nobody's buying it.
Well, it's cyclical. Everything that we know is cyclical in copdom. When Sean, you and I were in cops, and I'm sure probably with Jersey Joe too, everything is cyclical. You see it, people forget about it, it comes around all over again, and that will continue to be true. Right now, the shindig
That's how I did
is,
while dating in the same bars when I was younger.
Oh yeah, and the gig is that you'll see it again. It's a trend right now, and apparently, I don't know this for a fact, but is it working? Is the thuggishness working? I don't believe it is.
I don't believe any of it is.
Democrats don't have anything going for them right now. And anybody with more than one brain cell can tell everything they're doing. They're just copying what the Republicans have done the last couple of years. They're just copying. Oh, that worked for them, so let's try it. And people are like looking at them. I know I'm looking at them going, you're fake. You don't have an original idea in your head. From down to what they say. What today they put out how many tweets? and it was just a copy and paste. Every single one of them, Democrat congressman, woman, put out the same tweet word for word. They didn't even change it up. Oh, let's just copy and paste. That's original.
No.
Well, that's just it. It wasn't even just a copy and paste. I mean, it was, but it wasn't even any of their original thoughts. This came out. This was a group that put this out, and then instead of doing it with like any modicum of like half a brain cell or anything, they just said, "Oh, let's just put it all out at the same time." And it's almost like they don't realize that X is where a lot of people get their information now. So now they all look even more retarded than they did with the Borg video clips from just a few days ago.
Well,
And I think this is again another reason why they are preparing to fold. But the thing about it is, I don't think the Senate understands exactly how pissed off the Democratic Congress critters are going to be about them folding. Because I've heard from a few different people that I know that run in those circles that there is talk about this. If they're just going to go ahead and vote for cloture, then everybody just might as well pack up, go home, and let the Republicans do whatever the hell they want if they're not going to fight. Right. But again, it just proves that they painted themselves into a corner that they don't know how to get out of. But it's not just this. They are in the worst shape that I have ever seen that party in my life. You realize at this point, they have a lower approval rating, the Democrats as a whole, as of the entirety of Congress. Congress is less popular than a hooker with venereal disease.
I was going to say herpes pulls better than Congress.
And now the Democrats are even less popular than Congress as a whole.
What, they're low 30 approval rating?
No, they're in the mid 20s, aren't they?
Down to 20s now?
27.
Yeah.
The Democratic Party has a current approval rating of 27%.
And I'll tell you, they took a huge dump
And that's
in their approval
internal
ratings.
number.
They took a huge jump in approval ratings when they really started protesting Doge, because even a lot of people on the left, regular people, believe that the government should be audited, exposed, and all of our money. I mean, look, we're what, a tenth of our budget, annual budget, is proven to be fraud by the and that wasn't even by Doge. That was an investigation by the the GOA. That's been around since 1923. The government oversight, whatchamacallit. I can't think of the whole thing, but yeah, a tenth.
The Government Accountability Office.
Thank you, GAO. That's over 10% of our annual budget was found to be fraud through Social Security and Medicare. 10% of our annual budget, not the budget of Social Security and Medicare, our national annual budget. Fraud.
Okay, now remember, if you will, what everybody said here about, 30 seconds or a minute ago, is the Democrats are running up against a wall, but there's an alternative. We'll be getting to that. Speaking of getting to that, here we go. Hey, welcome to Big E. We have Big E, Earl Jackson, in the room. Thank you so kindly. And how dare you allow work? Darn work to here with your good, clean fun. That is so wrong on its face.
Those bills, they tend to pile up when you don't do it.
That is so terrible.
It really is. It really is.
I just like that he's wearing the alternative Metallica Black Album hat.
Oh, that's right. That's the reversal.
Yeah,
because if you bought
good album from Metallica.
Oh, hell yeah. I got that in the original Black Album back when there were actually albums, and they were kind of round, and they were called 33 1/3. And
you just lost probably half our audience right there.
Okay, like what? Rotary phones? What?
Joe, we're gonna have a debate over your comment about that later.
Probably not, because
that'd be the last good album from Metallica.
Yes, you and I are gonna fight over that later.
Any other band, it would have been great.
No, I said later.
No. I'm calling you out now. Any other band, it would have been great the rest of their albums, but that's not Metallica. They kind of, I don't want to say sold out, because they did what they had to do, but it's not Metallica.
Yeah, because they didn't do the same thing over and over and over again until they fell off into obscurity. There was something wrong with that. I hear you. I know you love repetition. We were just talking about everything being cyclical.
That's not what I said there.
You were just talking about everything being cyclical.
No,
round one.
And thanks for being here for Metallica chat. This is an hour full of Metallica.
I
Thanks for being here tonight.
He didn't. But I blame Earl for wearing the hat.
Cheezo pizza.
I'll own that. I'll own that.
So anyway, Earl, thanks for being here. I greatly appreciate it. And now
Glad to be
there
here.
are 5, and it's a wonderful thing.
I can't promise how long I'll last, though.
Okay, well, to be understood,
I'm sure
because
you hear that. I'm sure you say that quite often.
I was gonna say that's not the first time you've uttered those words.
Ow, jeez.
Oh my goodness,
Earl, that's
And
how
we're
you
back in
know
high
people
school.
love you. They know because
Oh,
when,
I know.
when people fuck with you, that's how they know they love you. Because they do that to me all the time. Hey, I want to go here. And Rick sent this to me a little bit earlier today. And it was an interesting question. This is kind of amusing. And then I found another article. Like the Democrats completely have no rudder right now. And will they be able to get it back? I'm going to suggest tonight that there's one view in which they appear to be winning, not just smallly, but bigly. But then there was this. This is courtesy of Rick. Turned me on to this. Let's listen to this.
Gotta say it. He's short and gay.
Yeah.
So you can say winning the nomination, being short and gay is a positive. And for some people, maybe not short, but gay is a positive. And I know for some people there is. But there is going to be a premium for the party in 2028 on winning, right? It's just like 92. There are going to be a lot of voters who are willing to swallow stuff in order to
see what he did there.
Win.
Is that really what you want to say when you're talking about a gay dude?
If this person can win. I've looked at the list of people who've won the presidency. None of them were openly gay. 3 were gay, but none were openly gay. And so it's just a risk. And in almost every presidential race, not everyone, but in almost every presidential race in the television era, the taller person is won. The Republican nominee in 2028 will be taller than Pete Buttigieg. So, gotta say it.
So what do you guys think about that? Does Butt Gig have any chance whatsoever at all? Period. End of statement.
Even if he was 6'5", he wouldn't have a chance.
Yeah, he is. I'll tell you, Milk Toast is more interesting and spicy than Buttigieg.
It's not even just that. Just look through some of his public comments in the 4 years that
people
he
won't
was,
even get that
he was
far.
in the
You have to be able
administration.
to. You have to be able to stay awake that long. You have to keep somebody interested in you that long to look into it. No, once he starts, everyone's just like, well, I mean, he is, man, he absolutely makes paint drying look like an extreme sport. He is just the most uninteresting human being on the planet. They think him being gay makes him interesting. And even being gay,
That's the least interesting thing about him.
yes,
that's true.
I mean, it's 2025. Guess what? Most people don't care anymore. You're trying to play a card that nobody cares about anymore.
I think Kamala will have a better chance than he would.
It's not a thing anymore.
Especially when she comes out as gay.
Yeah.
I'm still. Did he say that there are 3 presidents that were gay? Did I? Or
Yeah.
did I
Yeah,
hear
that's what
that?
he said.
But didn't come
I was
out.
just making sure I heard that right.
Well, because there was that, I forget what media group released the whole Abraham Lincoln was gay thing a few months ago.
Lincoln
And there was somebody else who they made allegations had a secret gay life or whatever.
I mean, Mary Todd was kind of a handsome woman, so I could kind of see that.
Nice.
I mean,
Well played.
Does Barack Obama count as gay since technically he's the bitch?
I don't know if that's who they're talking about.
See,
that could have been the other one.
Even if that's one of them, considering he started life as a woman and she started life as a man, I don't think it would qualify.
They're just straight with extra steps.
And when we come back, we're going to come back in a break. Take a break. If you need to go pee.
Wait, you're
go
actually
pee. But
taking breaks? You never take breaks when I'm out here.
Anyway, we'll be right back after this. And then I've got another person to throw up on the screen. We'll be right back.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Come listen to BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show. Live on select and exclusive Tuesday and Thursday nights. at 11 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Central, and 8 p.m. Pacific on the SHR Media Rumble channel, SHR Media YouTube channel, X, Twitch, Spreaker, and wherever great conservative podcasts are found. BZ, your conservative Sherpa, guides you through the maelstrom of Democrat, leftist, and globalist lies, chaos, deceit, and betrayal. Raised as a free-range child with dirt, stains, mud, and freedom, BZ broadcasts from North Idaho, comfortably surrounded by actual normal people. Jump into our plush, sumptuous, palatial, and resplendent chat room on rumble.com. Click on live chat to join. Now, with 37% more umbrage and 19% more bulbosity than previous shows, featuring delicious Liberty additives for the best in late-night conservatarian talk radio. BZ reminds you that with great beard comes great responsibility. No chinchillas were harmed, embarrassed, fat-shamed, or the focus of any sarcasm whatsoever in the making of this ad.
Hello, I'm Matt, a student at Hillsdale College. Here is Hillsdale President Larry Arnn on the continuing relevance of the Constitution.
Many argue today that the Constitution is outdated because it addresses problems peculiar to the 18th century. Some parts of the Constitution do read rather quaintly. Consider the injunction against titles of nobility in Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution. But is that so outdated? The purpose of the injunction is to prevent the government granting special privileges to some for partisan reasons. This strikes at the heart of the rule of law. The crony capitalism so common today is a place where the government bestows favors and tax dollars on some businesses to give them a leg up over others. This is exactly the kind of thing the Constitution was meant to prohibit. The Constitution is not so outdated after all.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To join the national conversation on the Constitution, go to constitutionminute.com.
Hey fellas, are you mission ready? Coming in November to SHR Media. By way of Big E Jackson, you need to check out Mission Ready Men. It's a show that equips you to navigate our society's challenges from a biblical perspective with courage and conviction. Tune into Mission Ready Men as we examine our culture through the prism of biblical truths, teachings, and how to apply them in our daily lives. Prepare to step up, stand out, and step into your role as a man, as ordained by God. That's Mission Ready Men, hosted by Earl Jackson, coming this November on the SHR Media Network. And get mission ready.
Want to make an immediate difference in the life of a critically ill child? You have the ability to do that right now. Make a donation to Dream Makers for Life, the organization that restores dreams to seriously ill children and their families. You can sponsor a dream pack for a child, which contains a clear PVC backpack, a dry erase board adventure coloring book, a journal, and dry erase markers to inspire a critically ill child to envision a future adventure and hope. Want to become a dream maker for life yourself? Go to dreamforlife.org. That's dreamforlife.org. Help a child. Help a family. There is always hope.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And we're back. I'm BZ. You're in the Saloon. I've got a great cadre of individuals tonight. It's basically SHR and KLRN. We talk smack on everything. And we're also going to be talking about just a veritable shit ton. Let me see if I put this in the right perspective here. A shit ton, an ass load of things. And I was sent something just recently by Rick Robinson from KLRN. Let's put this up. And I don't know what it is, but let's just play it and see.
I believe it is my job to make the best choice for the country, to minimize the harms to the American people. Therefore, I will vote to keep the government open and not shut it down. There is nobody in the world, nobody, who wants to shut the government down more than Donald Trump and more than Elon Musk. We should not give it to them. And make no mistake, Democrats will continue to fight what Donald Trump is doing. Everything that Trump, Musk, and Republicans have done so far has a clear goal. Again, cutting taxes for billionaires, eviscerate Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. This is the fight that matters most, and the fight we must focus on. All the chaos we have seen, all the lawlessness, all the grift and corrupt behavior. It's all about rigging the system in favor of the ultra-wealthy at the expense of working Americans. This is the fight the American people need to see. This is the fight that Democrats will win. A shutdown will be a costly distraction from this all-important fight.
So let's bring everybody in back again. I'd like to have everybody. Oh, woo! I can't wait. Gee, this wasn't difficult for this guy to swallow. It's like the thing you see where all of a sudden there's this little cartoon of a sperm going down somebody's throat, and the sperm says, "I'm going to make a great stallion," and the guy next to him says, "Dude, you're going down Waltz's throat. What the hell?" Wow. Anyone care to weigh in? Was this embarrassing as batshit for this guy?
Yes. I mean, look, the reality of the situation is he did, pardon me, he did what they've been doing all along. They talk tough. They say they're going to do all of these things. And then when their back's against the wall, they can't do it. And they know that. Look, I think Joe pointed out earlier before we went on the air, maybe it was on the air. When you were sitting there and you're already bitching about Doge shutting down a ton of the government, and then you vote to shut down more of the government and give them the ability to see more things that we don't need, you are defeating your own cause. That's what it comes down to. And I think Joe was right when he said that. Somebody got to him and said, "This is stupid. We can't do this." But then he has to go out and fall on the sword, because now he's going to go out and say, "Oh yeah, all that talk about shutting down the government, we're going to try to phrase this as we're saving people," when the simple fact of the matter is we have to. We just have to. We can't cave because it works against us to cave.
Yeah, but he's sitting there for the last several days bragging that they're going to shut the government down. And now he's, Trump was going to shut the government down.
Yes.
I think people are also waking up, because I don't know what Democrats are thinking. They don't seem to remember there's a thing called video. You're on it.
Oh,
Your
God,
words are held there. You know, you're coming out.
And the internet is forever.
Yeah, you're bragging you're going to shut it down. Then the next day you're going, "Oh, it's Trump that's going to do it." It shows that, number one, you're a pussy, that you can't man up and back your own play. Hey, you know what? We were going to do it, but you know what? We thought about it. It's not the best deal to do. We're backing out of it. We're just going to do this X, Y, and Z. I'd have more respect for somebody that does that. You know, but the man's pussy.
Not only that, but they come out as hypocrites, because it wasn't that long ago when they were saying that if the government shut down, it was all going to be the Republicans' fault and the world was going to end as we knew it.
End. The world was going to end.
Dude,
Yeah.
and that,
We're going to starve in the street.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's just it. In a partial shutdown, which is what this would have been, anything that is considered life-saving activity has to continue, even if people have to do it without money. So one of the things that I saw Schumer kept saying over and over and over again when Republicans were trying to shut everything down, if the Republicans shut the government down, then kids aren't going to have access to WIC. I'm like, that falls under essentials, so that's not true for one.
Yeah.
But the funniest thing about all this is just watching all of the mental gymnastics for these people. And again, I think somebody told him that, you know, saying that you're trying to fight for government jobs that when with like 100,000 people or whatever have been let go so far by sending almost 1 million home isn't a good look. Because the other thing is, this should have been the executive branch's argument all along. Half these people were pissed off that we were making them go home, so at least now they get to go back home or come to work. So at least now they get to go back home, but it'll all be the Democrats' fault this time.
Jasmine tried making that argument today. Oh, by us shutting it down, we're helping these people by sending them home. They can't get laid off or fired. We're actually doing you a favor by doing this.
Well, at least in a convoluted way, she's not necessarily completely wrong. But again, this would have just made it easy for Elon Musk's 20-something Doge monkeys to go in with red pens and be like, well, if we can survive without this, do we really need it? And I think they figured that out because that's just it. Everybody forgets that one of the reasons the shutdown played so badly during the Obama era is because when it shut down, he was a dick. He shut out all kinds of things that didn't even necessarily
need to be shut down. Yes.
Just to make it that much harder on everybody.
The Veterans Memorial.
Just to be punitive. For things that were out in the open.
Yeah,
memorials that you could see in front of you and they're roped off.
Shut down Mount Rushmore during spring break because these things always seem to happen around the same time. Spring breaks are starting to spin up. But the thing that I want to drive home is I think the Democrats forgot, oh my God, it's not Biden at the top of the pyramid this time. So if we let the government shut down, Trump is going to declare Doge essential, and they're going to keep working.
Yeah.
I really think that was it.
Yeah, you're going to empty out all those offices
real quick.
Real simple.
If you don't mind. One of the things I thought about during the break, one of the things that's also hurting the Democrats, and I think people are waking up to it more and more. Who do you see the Democrats propping up all the time and going to that hill to fight on? It's always some criminal, a terrorist supporter. But when it came to standing up and cheering for a 13-year-old kid, a family whose daughter was murdered, so forth and so on, they were nowhere to be found. And I think people are really waking up to what the Democrat Party is about.
It's reverse planet world. And I truly do think for at least 80% is whatever Trump does, says, thinks, expresses, or signs off on, we don't give a shit what it is. Yeah. We're going to be against it. Period. Okay. End of statement. Now, this article, thanks, Rick, for sending this to me. Chuck Schumer calls Republicans bastards. But guess who got his ass handed to him and played on the continuing resolution, just like this indicates? This is, you walked into a self-fulfilling trap, and you should not be surprised that, as I want to say many times, you got hoisted on a petard of your own creation. Welcome to the world of Republicans who couldn't get out of this crap, and now it's fallen on you.
How many times has Trump done that to the Democrat Party, though? Set them into the trap, and they fall for it every single time.
That's been his whole effective nature. I mean, really, I think he does it when he's bored. I really do. I think when he gets bored some days, he's like, you know what? I'm going to say something that's going to make the Democrats react this way, and then I'm going to come out and prove them wrong, and they're going to look like idiots. And I really think that that's a game that he plays with his staff. Like, I'm going to say this bombastic, crazy shit today. This is how the MSNBC and all the idiots are going to respond.
Yep.
And they're going to come out tomorrow and prove them wrong, and we're all going to go backstage and laugh.
How pissed was Schumer when Trump called him out and said that he's a Palestinian now?
Yeah. No, it's ridiculous.
You know what I think?
Go ahead.
I think that Trump, despite how things went his first 4 years, I think Trump is one of the most talented politicians that we've ever seen. And he's not afraid to say whatever is on his mind, whatever he thinks is the truth. He's not afraid to say it. And that, combined with the talent that he's displaying as a politician, is a game changer, and it's making the left go apoplectic,
destroying them with their own game.
They don't know how to fight him, and I've actually heard this within Democratic circles. They do not know what to do because every time they think they've figured out a strategy that works, he turns it on its head, flips it back around, and they just don't know what to do. They did it. He did it to them again with the CR. He's done it with the whole. Remember, just what was this? 2 weeks ago, I was on little less than 2 weeks ago. I was on the show talking about Majetsky, and the left was having a cow. Now we've got tentative peace talks. Majetsky's coming back to the table. Even Putin says that he agrees with the ceasefire in principle, and the left has nothing. And just 10 days ago, they were, oh my God, grocery prices are going up, energy prices are going up, and guess what? Now they're not. Egg prices are going down.
I want to see how they fight his proposal today of doing away for taxes, anyone making 150,000 or less.
Yes.
He pretty much pulled the rug out on that. How are they going to fight it?
I have a question with that though. Has he officially said it? Because I've heard it from a couple of his surrogates, but I have not heard it officially from him yet.
I think on X here and there I saw it. So
I think he made the comment. I want to say it was outside somewhere, but I could be wrong.
Well, I'm just asking because I haven't heard him say it yet, and I haven't. But I mean, I'm all for it. Trust me. I mean, because I'm little L libertarian, just like BZ. Taxation.
I saw it on Elon's X.
Well, yeah,
I haven't heard it from him, but
that's because
I believe it's coming.
One of his prominent members has been all over Fox News and everywhere else saying that that's something that they want to see if they can make happen.
Was it Lutnick that said that?
Yeah, it was Lutnick. Lutnick was the one that started it.
You think about how brilliant of a move that would be, right? How can the left frame that as a bad thing when they're always talking about the ultra rich, the ultra wealthy? And if you turn around and say, yeah, if you make individually less than 150K, you don't have to pay taxes, their fucking heads would explode. Like it'd almost be like there was a device in their brain that all exploded at the same time. They would they wouldn't know what to do with themselves.
Like the Suicide
What
Squad.
percentile of the population would that cover? A ton.
The amount of peroxide that you would need to remove the urine smell from the House and Senate floor after that's announced and passed would be amazing.
Well, there will be some people on the left. There will be some who will attempt to spin that in a negative and fight it, and it will be glorious to watch.
Yep.
Absolutely glorious to watch.
For me, it'll be kind of a key thing because I want to know what the individual cutoff is going to be versus the joint filing cutoff. Because if it is 150,000 individually and then nearly doubled for married couples, then that's going to be absolutely amazing. And it would shut every argument the Democrats have ever had down about Donald Trump only cares about the rich, which he's already proven he doesn't. Right now, he's still trying to fight for no tax on tips. That's why they're trying to get past this CR fight so they can move on to the important stuff.
Wanted what, a month CR?
Oh, let's do a month.
Yeah.
Well, he knocked it out of the ballpark when he said, "Oh, let the poor pay their unfair share." Yeah, that's not going to sell real well. Not real well at all. Nicely played, Cheetah.
What was it? Senator Kennedy the other day who said something to the effect of why the Republicans are kind of being quiet right now, and he says you don't interrupt the other side when they're kicking the shit out of themselves.
John Kennedy.
I love John Kennedy. He's amazing.
Yeah, never interrupt your enemy when your enemy is destroying themselves.
Yep,
and that's an axiom that ought to come out of Sun Tzu.
I would love one of those push buttons
I
like
think
you used to have. That was easy, but just random John Kennedy quotes. Just random Kennedy quotes. Or every time I press it, it's another one of his bangers because he nails some amazing one-time quotes.
So, well, speaking of John Kennedy, I have to share this because once it was shared with me, I cannot get it out of my head. I played a clip of Kennedy in my chat on my show about a week and a half ago, and somebody in my chat says, "I love the man to death, but every time I hear him talk, I can only hear Herbert from Family Guy." So,
nicely played. I want to get your opinions on this. This was an article that I didn't see. I go through some really strange websites, leftist websites. I try to go everywhere that I possibly can. And I found historically that I get a lot of stuff from the UK because the American media magazines won't cover a lot of stuff. In the process of doing that, I also go to The Hill and Politico and The Economist. I used to subscribe to The Economist. Well, what do you guys think of this? Now somebody is making an argument for this. This is from Politico. Rahm Emanuel is gearing up to run for president. And he's saying things that are beginning to resonate with people. I'm done with the discussion of locker rooms. I'm done with the discussion of bathrooms. And we better start having a conversation about the classroom. Well, damn you for saying something completely obvious like this. You know, he's starting to make noise kind of like in the land of the American media maggots, Bill Maher is making noise, and he's pissing a lot of people off because he's saying not the quiet part out loud, but he's expressing the fact that these Democrat shitsticks have gone so far over the top that they're predominantly unrecognizable. So Rom, basically, I mean, is this the full-on rom-com where Rahm Emanuel said, always take advantage of a crisis. You
Never
have
let
to
a good
take
crisis
advantage
go to
of a
waste.
crisis. Yes, exactly.
When he was the press secretary for Obama. Look, Rahm Emanuel, the biggest problem with Rahm Emanuel is he's got a ton, and I mean a ton of skeletons in his closets that if he doesn't come out and own soon, it'll just blow him up. And I'll tell you something. I think out of everyone, well, there's so many people that could come out of the left.
He has a few boyfriends in his closet too, but that's another.
Yeah, well, it's not the adult boyfriends that I'm talking about. You got to remember, if I recall, he was really tight with Anthony Weiner and a couple of other people in that circle.
Neither he nor Anthony Weiner are tight, sir.
Right.
You said Weiner. He did say Weiner.
But the reality is, I don't think he has enough likability. People thought he was a douchebag when he worked for Obama. People thought he was a douchebag when he was the mayor of Chicago.
Yeah.
They hid him, and this could have been on purpose. They hid him as an ambassador overseas for a few years so people could whitewash the memory of Rahm Emanuel. But as the Democrats have not learned, and I'm thankful, the internet is forever, and these videos are so easy to pull up that I don't think Rahm Emanuel. The biggest thing about Trump is Trump owned all of his mistakes in the past.
Yeah.
He admitted to them. He played with them a little bit. He joked about them sometimes, whatever. He never tried to hide who he was. And people appreciated that because even in places they didn't agree, the fact that he owned it and he was honest about it, what else can you say? What other conversation you can have? Well, you shouldn't have done that. You're right. I shouldn't have. Now we're here. We're here now. I admit that what I did was wrong, and I admit that I did it. And the Democrats have not got there at all with anything. With anything. This is the party that tried to reboot John Edwards after he was having an affair on his dying wife. They are just so short-sighted.
Well, that goes to what my prediction for who's going to run for the Democrats.
So
Andrew Cuomo.
You probably
Cuomo.
Yep, he's probably
Really?
going to be the next mayor of New York City. He's got a massive lead in the elections in June, and he's basically rebranding back to the center. Oh, we're against immigration, illegal immigration. He's going back to the center, and he's trying to fix his image.
And the New Yorkers will fall for it because they're retarded. And I know people that live there. But speaking of rebranding, have you guys seen that the Democrats have a new logo?
Oh, no, I have not. Can you share it?
I'll see if I can find it. Hang on, it was shared with me yesterday. But yeah, while I'm looking for it, it used to be the red and blue donkey with the white stars, and there was 4.
Right.
They have given themselves a downgrade, and I don't know if it was on purpose or if they just maybe it was subconscious. Because they're now giving themselves 3 stars. It's almost like they got a downgrade on Yelp.
Wow.
They are downgrading themselves.
0 stars. Do not recommend.
Yeah.
I thought Amish sent it to me. Hang on, I'm looking for it. Here we go.
But I don't think Rahm Emanuel, while he's looking for it, I don't think Rahm Emanuel is anything that we need to worry about. I worry that some middle of the road. I'll tell you, I worry more about Fetterman now than I would worry about Rahm Emanuel.
That is so weird. I was just thinking about that today. I watched something with him sitting in an interview. I don't remember with who. The standard hoodie,
Right,
shorts,
Fetterman being Fetterman,
and this fucker was sounding logical. What the hell?
Well, you know what happened? He had a stroke.
Yes.
And his brain had to rewire itself. So some of his brain got attached to the side that makes sense.
Actually, I think when he did his little time in the hospital, and
He also went to Walter Reed
and
behind what is known as a 5150 commitment.
Right. And I think that fixed a lot of what was wrong with John Webster, too.
No, he talks a good talk, but when it comes to voting, he still votes the
He's
exact
still
same
exactly
way as
the
their
same.
GM.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with all of what you're saying. I'm not saying he's viable, but I think he has a better chance than Rahm Emanuel does.
That could be,
Yeah,
but he also has
that's probably true.
A history behind him, not too terribly dissimilar from Doc Out.
Yeah. Yeah.
That people don't want to admit. Rick sent me this. I want to hit this before the break. We got about another 5 minutes to go before the top of the hour break. And you guys need to hit the Winkle chamber and go.
This was sad.
Cock-a-pee-pee and all this kind of stuff. This simply confirms what we already know. Dead people do vote. Dead Democrats do vote. So thanks to Rick for sending it from Red State. Dead Dems vote. And post on social media, Arizona representative blasts Trump in a post on X hours after his death. So this guy named Representative Raul Grijalva, Democrat from Arizona, he passed away. He had lung cancer, complications, so he was mostly absent from Capitol Hill. And the timing is such that he somehow managed to vote. And it was curious that soon after his death, staffers post the announcement to his X account. And it was there, but he posts all these things, and yet this. Let me see if I can post this. And you might not be able to read it. Nancy the Neanderthal says, "This poor man is dead. You disgusting excuses for humans puppeting his account. You should be ashamed of yourselves. Why are Democrats always the worst people?"
I know
it's like, it's like they never met a hole at this point that they never wanted to stop digging. The first rule of holes: when you're in it, stop the fuck digging. Stop.
I really thought he was about to say they've never found a hole they didn't like, and I was like, this conversation's about to go somewhere weird.
Yeah, so sideways, right?
Damn near.
I do have an answer. It's pretty simple. We're demon rats. We don't die. We multiply.
I guess that must be. They're like a bad paramecium, or even a single mecium. Oh, wait a minute. Here we go.
Baby's kids all grew up that became Democrats. That's exactly what happened.
Okay. I got sent
This isn't the first time that's happened either.
No. Oh, by the way, it was Fox's Aisha Hasney 9 hours ago who said Kristen Gillibrand is screaming so loud we can hear it through the thick wooden doors.
Yeah, I read that.
Yeah, they couldn't make out what she was saying, but they knew she was pissed. It was funny.
Oh, that's a wonderful thing. So Rick sent this. This will be the last thing that I
the new
show.
logo.
Here we go.
There it is.
There it is. There's the new logo. And honest to God, now it's like, when you think you can't write more crazy shit gets writ. And this is it. Notice how it's all in syncope here. All in syncope.
I almost understand it because everybody's starting to go like minimalist with their logos, but I'm just like,
Which
dude,
I hate.
But why you just basically put out the image to the world that you are downgrading yourself because you went from 4 stars to 3 stars.
Hey,
am I the only one that as soon as I was like, dude, they just gave themselves a Yelp downgrade. That's the first thing I thought.
No, but it's not a Babylon Bee article. This is not from Babylon
It's true.
Bee or The Onion or any of this other crap. Look up here. I don't know if it's big enough that you guys can see it. It's on X.
It's actually from the Democrats.
Yeah.
The Democrats.
You know what the biggest problem is? That donkey got hogged. Hey, look.
Damn.
I have a little bit of breaking news before we go to break.
Okay.
NBC's Lawrence O'Donnell. We all know it's been a very troubling time for him recently.
We love him. Oh,
he's
God,
struggling, the poor bastard. He's going to take a week off, and he cited it's because of exhaustion from the Trump presidency. So we wish him well. Hopefully he gets over this and he heals. Healing is important.
That's That's right.
Oh,
Jerry.
Imagine being so fucking weak that you have to take a week off because you don't like the guy who's president. Holy shit, what a pussy.
But it's
well, I
true.
mean, that's what the leftist beta males they're all like that.
Well,
that's the
to be
new
fair-
masculinity that the left is trying to promote.
To
It's
be
called
fair,
Vagisil. Go get some. Go back to work.
To be fair, they did get used to a guy that was, calling lids by 9 and tucked in with tapioca by 1 p.m. So,
Was that Rachel Maddow? Oh, you're talking about Biden.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sorry, our friendly person. Hey, folks, when we come back, it's time for a break. So if you need to use the electric Winkle chamber, now's a great time to do it. I'm going to change gears when we come back. Because right now, the Democrats are doing their very level best to make sure that they shoot themselves in the foot in other locales. We're going to change gears.
Okay.
Lums.
Yeah. Guess what?
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Edge of Liberty. Join me right here on the SHR Media Network every Monday and Friday, 12 on the Pacific, 3 on the East Coast. On this show, we'll discuss news, politics, the government, how cranky we are about the government, and more. If you want to hear hard talk, good interviews, sarcasm, bad jokes, and oh God, that really is me in a nutshell. Either way, check me out right here on the Edge of Liberty every Monday and Friday, 12 Pacific, 3 on the East, on the SHR Media Network.
Freedom. One nation in all of human history was built on that bedrock. Ours. A republic of the people, by the people, and for the people. Self-government requires freedom, just as freedom requires an individual willingness to self-govern. Freedom has made America exceptional, but it can only last as long as you and I seek the good, as expressed by the laws of nature and nature's God. It can only last if you and I choose to act as people of character. Forging character has been the pursuit of Hillsdale College since 1844.
Are you looking for a way to boldly express your faith and love for your country? And check out Seven Armors, the premier apparel company for patriotic men of God, where faith meets freedom in style. Our t-shirts are more than just clothing, they're statements. Bold, stylish, and meaningful. From timeless messages to modern designs, we've got something for every patriotic man of God. Wear your beliefs proudly with Seven Armors gear. Don't miss the chance to wear your faith and freedom on your sleeve. Visit 7armors.com today and join the movement. That's the number 7armors.com. 7armors.com. Faithful, vigilant, steadfast, passion.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And it's the beginning of the second hour, hour number 2 here in the Saloon, where I've got a passel of wonderful kiddos, including Rowdy Rick, Jersey Joe, Sean Lewis, Big E is here in the house. Thanks to everybody for being here. It's like I've said, it's the SHR and KLRN guys getting together and talking smack and shitibus about all sorts of things. The Democrats were smacking themselves in the head, and it seems they have a propensity to continue to do that, except for one thing.
They could have had a V8.
They could have had a V8, and the shindig is
they don't
this.
make them anymore.
Oh, wait. No V8? Oh, it's V6.
Yeah,
Good point. Lawfare via federal judges. Why have government? Let's just let the judges run everything. We're gonna go into this article, but there was a leftist Biden judge, and you'll see that article. She's the one that said the idea of two sexes is not biologically correct. You know, how are obvious leftists considered judges? So why don't we just let federal judges run the federal government? Because they're doing that anyway right now. So what they indicated, and we'll go through all there are more cases against Trump right now than you could possibly imagine. I'm not going to go over each one. There are over 20. I will just show them to you in a big damn stream starting above and going below. So why aren't the federal judges running the damn government? They're doing it anyway. So they're saying that basically, in one case, probationary employees have a proprietary right to their jobs. And I told you, and everyone here said to everyone listening that we knew that the deep state, it's not some big Q kind of thing. It's actual government employees. They're going to fight back with every damn thing they have, including pulling out all the corrupt leftist judges that they know of and that are in their very, very pockets that they can
find around for a while, though, because this is a Clinton judge. But the thing that I find amazing about this is there was already a Supreme Court ruling in 1988 that debunks this entire thing the judge just said. So this is going to be fun.
Well, it's going to be damn near biblical. And as we spoke about Trump, and as we spoke about the deep state, and as we spoke about the Democrats who cannot find it within themselves to do nothing but sunder themselves. But we're getting to the point where a federal judge with the wave of a wand can halt basically any government directive on a whim. If they can do that, then what's the point in trying to clean up government? In attempting to rein in any amount of government spending or expansion or waste or fraud or corruption, any of that stuff.
What blows my mind is the fact that they're still referring to them as a probationary employees at that point, right? If you have full protection as a probationary employee, you're no longer a probationary employee. So that is a moot point.
Yeah.
To keep referring to them as that.
On its face, it's wrong.
As Rick said in 88,
the Supreme Court actually ruled that the legislature cannot interfere with the executive branch's ability to terminate people unless or until Congress gives them an applicable reason why those people cannot be terminated. So, I mean, now granted, this could change, but I don't see that happening with the makeup of the court currently. So this is just nothing but a waste of time because these people are still going to wind up losing their jobs. And I'll be honest, I don't really want to see anybody losing their job. But as somebody that has run businesses, for other people, there comes times when you have to do reviews and when you start realizing, hey, we have like 5 million employees and we really only have the money for 2 million employees. Something's going to have to change. But before I turn everything back over to everybody else, this becomes part of the problem. And this is why the Democrats are having a cow. This is why the judges are having a cow, because they've had us on a hamster wheel of doom since the Obama era, and if not before. What they have managed to do is anytime a Democrat's in power and anytime Democrats have control of the purse strings, they do everything they can to raise our taxes. And then they start using that tax money to bring in more government employees who then in turn make sure that USAID gets grants that then uses that money to start in NGOs that then hire Democratic employees. And it's basically just this recurring cyclical Ponzi scheme thing. And that's why they're freaking out, because all of their cookie jars are getting raided. All of their slush funds are getting drained and everything's dying. Have you noticed? Look at what's happening with the media. Look at what's happening with Act Blue. Look at what's happening with USAID. This has been nothing but a hamster wheel Ponzi scheme, and it's been going probably since before 98 when the damn thing got codified into law.
Well, it makes you wonder, because I always try to do what I call the logical extension. There are a ton of what I call BZ's axioms. So, if contested, does this mean then, by way of the logical extension, that does this give the federal court the ability to halt government budgets? What's the limit of the power here? To stop CRs, for example, are they going to say, with regard to the CR or anything else, are they going to say, is it constitutional? Are they going to ask, like this story that we'll be getting into, how many people are going to be affected? And they can stop it if they don't like the number of people that are affected. And then maybe they can say, okay, justify to the court these decreases or increases and turn over all the documents that justify those numbers and provide the name of staff working on budgets. Because if no alternatives exist to downsize government or have control of government, why it's going to make people wonder, if they haven't already, okay, why are we coloring within the lines? All right. So why shouldn't we just ignore government?
Well,
and other people are also modifying it. I'm not going to say it here, or worse. And you know what the worse means.
Yes. But one thing that I do think is something that we gain out of this is for every case that they lose, there becomes case law. And that avenue gets closed. And that avenue gets closed and in the future. So we knew, I mean, look, they started filing lawsuits against the Trump administration the day that they won the election. They were getting them ready, not even sworn in. So you know they're going to play these games, and you know that they're going to be lower court judges who are going to turn around and rule against it immediately, no matter what the law says, whatever, because they're advocate judges. We know about advocate judges. But what will happen is if it gets appealed further up the chain, then you're going to have a Supreme Court ruling. And in the future, none of this stuff will even be entertained. So in a way, as much as it's a pain in the ass, they can put a temporary stop on it all they want, but they're going to lose in the big picture, and that's all that counts. They will essentially out litigate themselves from future arguments. They're doing, once again, painting themselves into their own corner.
It is, but Democrats and anybody that's associated, what I call the DLG, the Democrats, leftists, and globalists, all are working on this together in unison. But they're discovering, and they have discovered because they've historically done this and used these tactics in terms of lawfare, slam, slam, slam against Trump, Trump, Trump. Okay, fine. That's true. And you made an excellent point, from the very first second of Trump 47 lawsuit. Okay, fine. It's like Al Green, 35 seconds into it, impeachment. Here, hold my cane. We knew that this was going to be there. We knew that this was going to be happening. It's happening on such a huge scale. Joe, did you have something?
I was just saying, they announced it months before Trump even won, that they were setting up lawsuits, they were setting up groups, they were doing all that just so they can put them in court. They think they're smarter, and they're just proverbially shooting themselves in the foot.
Very true.
I think the saying of never interrupt your enemy when they're kicking their own ass comes into play. They keep filing these lawsuits and getting it handed to them. And look, they're just wasting their money. And this is coming out of Democrat coffers, right?
George Soros coffers.
Yes. Go ahead. Waste all this money because all you're doing is wasting it.
Well, hang on. So yes, but the difference is until Doge and until the election, it would have been Soros using our money. Now he's having
100%
having to use his own. So please waste all of his money that you want, because that man, if there's anybody that is as close as you could possibly be to being the Antichrist without possibly being the Antichrist, that's the guy. I'm just saying. So yes, please, Democrats, waste all of his money. Burn all of your stuff to the ground.
The other thing we have to remember is that Doge has a sunset date. So because it has a sunset date, it needs to find and unearth as much stuff as it possibly can. I think the sunset date is after the midterms.
Yeah, but the thing about a sunset date is those can always be voted to be extended.
Yeah.
Well, if they have the wherewithal and the ability to do that, that would be great. That's what I'm saying.
And unless something goes sideways at this point, what the public is seeing is somebody's going to have majority control of everything. Because up until now, we've had this mindset where if we keep the numbers close enough, nothing ever really gets done. But the problem is they're now starting to see that stopped working. And that stopped working around the same time that Bill Clinton got pissed off that he lost control of the House and the Senate. Because that's around the time that USAID got codified in the law. And I think that's because they had already started figuring out what they were going to do with it, because they had probably already been doing the same thing on a much smaller scale until it got codified in the law.
Well, I want to run through a bunch of these things right now. This one is, in my opinion, particularly egregious in terms of, so this federal judge says, I want Pete Hegseth, SecDef, to issue an apology from a retweet. This is beyond the pale. And as I indicated earlier, this U.S. District Court Judge, Anna Reyes, a Biden appointee, that said that, two sexes not biologically correct, comma, you fucking bint. You are really that stupid? The answer is yes. So she pointed to a post on X where Hegseth says, Pentagon says transgender troops are disqualified from service without an exemption. So it gets a link to a Fox News article about an internal Pentagon memo. And then the questioning of the DOJ lawyers, she says one of the defendants in the case, Second Lieutenant Talbot, has more commendations than books in our library, and asked why she should side with Hegseth, who she said at the time had only been in office for 30 days. What does that have to do with anything?
Nothing
at all.
Absolutely.
And then
nothing.
says, as a result, that he must proffer an apology.
Now,
this is insanity writ large. Where have we seen this kind of over-the-top crap? I have not begun to get into the rest yet.
You know what's incredible about this? This is going to get appealed up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court's going to have to rule on what's a biological male and female, and that all of a sudden will become law of the land.
They're going to have to rule on so many things. It begs the question. Okay, it's like Thug's Law. I've explained Thug's Law here numerous times.
Right.
Thug's Law is what's mine is mine, what's yours is mine, unless you're strong enough to stop me. I speak leftist, so I'll translate. What that means is leftists don't give a shit about the law and will do anything that they possibly can unless somebody either physically or legislatively or by the courts stand in their way. And you must have standing to do so, of course. I'm sorry, Rick, go ahead.
I was going to say they're proving it with what's happening with Musk right now, because they're calling it a lawful protest when they're lighting Teslas on fire.
Yeah.
It's
but if you think about
peaceful riots,
if the Supreme Court rules on this and they identify what is a biological male and what is a biological female, and that becomes codified, you think about the implication about how that will be applied to every aspect of our life outside and across the nation. And then that ends the argument.
Well, so this
if
goes
they
back,
rule the right way.
I mean, I would with the current makeup of the court, I would be surprised if they didn't. The only person I'm actually worried about would be ACB, because I think somebody's put some dirt on her. But
I disagree. I don't think it's dirt. I think that her and Robert see themselves as the great equalizers. I wish it was dirt and they were doing it with a dirty conscience, but they had to. No, I think that they see themselves as this moral, above everybody else in this country, balancing act where they have the weight of the country's balance on their shoulders, and they're making the decisions to save us from ourselves. I really think they think that's what their job is.
Two suggestions for that. The people who went through the various nominational processes and they were quantified or attempted to be quantified as either leftist or on the right, those two individuals in particular, Barrett, I'm suggesting this is a little pushback on that, or a lot of pushback in terms of you can't pigeonhole me like that. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to fucking show you that I cannot be pigeonholed, along with the susceptibility of running in a major leftist environment where you've got a lot of other individuals. And I think to a degree, they kind of sort of want to be liked, and they're running in big circuits, and they're going to lots of dinners, and they're rubbing elbows with a lot of people heretofore that they have never encountered before. And I think that comes into play as well a little bit.
It probably does, especially for people who don't have any real core conviction, because Clarence Thomas had the same experiences, but he is as strong a conservative on that court as you can possibly imagine.
Oh God, yes.
And I think Amy Coney Barrett is, I think she portrayed herself as having these convictions, but I think she has been easily swayed.
Well, and he has, let me suggest this also, Earl and the others here, has it not been something similar to Thomas has taken upon, and he never shed the mantle, but he's taken on kind of the Scalia role, whom I would love to see alive today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me put this up here also. Wall Street Apes. If you're on X and you're not watching Wall Street Apes, you're missing a lot of really very interesting stuff. Today, activist judges ordered the release of illegal migrants back into America, told the president of the United States he can't revoke security clearances of George Soros-funded law firm Perkins Coie.
Yeah.
And yet, Article 2 of the Constitution states the executive power shall be vested in the president of the United States. No court may take over that rule. No court may define or limit the scope of the duties of an official within the executive office of the president. So, it's like, hey, what the fuck? Over.
Well, that's just it. We're not talking about separate but equal branches anymore. And the Democrats have been trying to do this on purpose for forever. They have been, think about this from another perspective, because this is another thing that we knew before Doge, but it's another reason why the Democrats are starting to freak out, because with all the cuts that Zeldin is making in the EPA and all the other things, they're clearing out a lot of what are called not administrative law judges, because the executive branch has created their own private courts. And when they need things done, they go to them instead of going to the judicial branch. So that's another thing that they're cleaning out, because the Democrats have been for a long time trying to get it to the point to where judges decide everything. And you can see this with everything that they're trying to do right now, because every time Donald Trump does something that they don't agree with, even though it's well within the scope of his powers to be able to do that, they run to a judge and say, you have to tell him he can't do this. I swear to God, it's like watching brothers and sisters try to get one up on their parents. One says one thing and the other runs to the other. It's just nuts, because all of this is going to be struck down eventually for the most part. I'm not saying the Supreme Court is perfect. There have been a couple of things they've done recently that I'm like scratching my head at. But I think for the most part, they're going to have to rein this in, or eventually they're going to make themselves irrelevant, because at some point they're going to make the courts below them even more powerful than they are if they don't.
Sean sent this to me, so I'm going to play this. Who is this from? American Barbie. The brisket coming off the smoker 4 hours after I told my wife it would be done. Nice. Shrink on that Bobby. Really nice. I appreciate it. So, you folks, you Falkers all around here, let's go back to this. Here we go. Judge Chutkan, who was an obstructionist in the first era, has granted a request from the Democrats to uncover the identity. This is what I referred to earlier. To uncover, what's the point of uncovering the identities of Doge personnel except to dox? I can think of no other reason for that. If you can, please speak up or forever hold your codpiece.
No other reason.
To uncover the identities of Doge personnel, also the parameters of Doge's and Musk's authority. We've discussed this any number of times. Now, I don't think that any of these have any other place except to be overturned or go up to SCOTUS. And you tell me if I'm wrong. I've sensed with this particular term and a few terms before in SCOTUS, they're not interested in addressing the real critical issues, especially with regard to how politics is played in the United States of America. Sure, they'll rule on cases of traffic collisions and injuries and all that kind of stuff. I don't think they're much interested and want to physically push back and eschew anything that has to do with setting a precedent with regard to politics. Bueller.
I don't know. I get angry when we start watching some of this stuff, because it's
so stupid.
It's just, well, this goes back to everything that we talked about earlier with the Rockefellers and everything else. if they were still teaching critical thinking, which, by the way, Sean, I meant to mention this last night. One of the reasons, and I mentioned the part of why we're showing up, I think it was 39th or 31st or something in what you were showing last night.
Right.
That's because they factor in the higher education stuff. But the thing about it is, in the countries where they're like number 1 through number 10, one of the first things they rank is the ability for the students to think critically. So we don't teach that anymore because they don't want us to know that, because they want people to be dependent upon the government enough to where if people start trying to step out of line in that, the government can run to the courts and say, you need to crack this down. And you're seeing this happen right now between the Congress critters and the executive branch and the judicial branch. And if we don't smack it down now, it's only going to get worse. And I'm telling you right now, this is probably our last chance to turn this around. We can either shoulder down and push and change direction, or this is going to peter out and they're going to swing everything back around again, and they're just going to finish running us off the cliff. And before you know it, there's going to be an entirely different group of people in charge, and most of them are probably going to have blue helmets.
Sure, and it'll be entirely cyclical, just like it was before. Some things never change. That's part and parcel of one of them. We talked about the sunset date. We talked about, Doge has a window, and within that window, it must act as quickly as it possibly can. And these, for example, this is what I referred to earlier. Federal judge orders Elon Musk and Doge to reveal plans to downsize government, identify all employees. What's the reason for that? We all know what the reason for that is. There's only one, and that's to make everything as difficult as possible, because they're fully cognizant of the fact that the leftists will do to individuals once they find their address or where they live. They did it to Kavanaugh. They did it to Carlson. They did it to any number of people. And at the time under the Biden administration, although that was against the law to do that in front of Kavanaugh's residence, they were absolutely fucking uninterested in making sure that was prosecuted or even taken to task or even arrests made and people processed.
And they're doing it all over the country right now.
Yes.
The guys like Gunther Egelman and Sean Perez and a bunch of other people have been swatted just today.
Yeah, just today.
Joe Pags got swatted. Joe Pags got swatted at like 2:30 in the morning.
Yep, he's the other one. And
don't forget
the thing is, the only reason to have this information be public is to do something like that.
Well,
and there's all these leftists who are doing these TikTok videos talking about how they're not mentioning any names or any specific actions, but they're clearly indicating that somebody needs to
take action,
attempt to assassinate President Trump.
Well,
and Elon Musk. And so that's the only reason for this information to come out, is that they want something like this to happen.
Well, and you look at what happened at X this week, right? Getting the massive DDoS attack, and and that's not just Americans; that's people overseas as well. It'll be interesting. Some people said, "Did they come from Langley?" Anything's possible. But
Elon Musk came out and said where the IP addresses were
right in Ukraine. Yeah. There's a lot of people who are very angry outside this country as well as inside this country, because the changes that are being done here are going to benefit America, and they do not like that.
Yeah.
One of the guys that was swatted came out and said, he knows he was on an anti-Ukraine list because he spoke out. And pretty much all the ones that got swatted were anti-Ukraine.
Yep.
Elon Musk, I'm not going to say he's anti-Ukraine, but he's anti-war and all that. That's what a lot of it's coming down to. But the left's showing its true side, the violence.
Ass.
Well, are they really though? Because this is my question. When the hell? And this is directed to BZ, because I know you mentioned one of the last times I was hanging out with you that you actually used to be one of them. When the hell did the hippies turn from, well, all we are saying is give peace a chance, to all we are saying is drop bombs on their heads? What the hell? I don't understand when that changed, because the entire most of the people that are on the left that are in Congress grew up in that time frame, except for a handful. So how did they go from all we're saying is give peace a chance to, I remember when John McCain was laughed out of the well because he was singing "Bomb, Bomb, 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 Bomb Iran"? That wasn't that long ago. So what happened? I don't.
The old money dollar.
There was an inception point, and I make this reference any number of times. Conservatives, little L, libertarians like myself and Rick, we found our voice with Rush Limbaugh. That was back in the very early 90s. And that was a major inception point that gave throat to the people and allowed them to realize, I'm not alone. I'm not alone at all. I've got a shit ton of people behind me. Trump did something of a similar thing, only on a political level. And people thought, oh, come on, OMB, Orange Man Bad, the guy with the dead orange cat on his head, what the hell? 45's term was 47's term is KATN, kicking ass and taking names. Now, you'll notice that from 2016 or the time that he walked down the gold stairs, rich, horrible billionaire guy, everything turned around. Everything turned around. And we're going to take a break. Un momento, por favore. Per favore is, if you're Italian. We'll be right back after this. Hey, go Winkle if you need to.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Welcome to River of Common Sense, where we cut through the noise of news and politics with a sharp wit and clear discussion. Tune in every Monday and Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for a refreshing dose of reality as we fearlessly tackle the tough topics with no nonsense, just pure common sense. Visit shrmedia.com to discover where you can catch River of Common Sense in action. He's here to amplify your inner logic. He may not always be polite, he may not always be refined, but one thing's for sure, he always tells it like it is.
Independence. With that declaration, America was born. Inspired by a belief in the God-given rights of every human being, and in the good that comes from exercising these rights well. The founders of our great nation chose independence. As do we. Hillsdale College accepts no government funding because independence makes possible the good to which we aspire.
Attention, all patriotic women of faith. Yep, I'm talking to you, sis. Are you looking for high-quality, super soft apparel that reflects your love for country and your devotion to God? Look no further than Carry Girl Gear. Picture this. You rocking a tee so soft it's like being hugged by a cloud, all while showing off your love for God and country. Sounds dreamy, right? Well, welcome to reality, babes, because that's what we're all about here at Carry Girl Gear. We specialize in super soft tees, tanks, and more, designed specifically for the strong, patriotic woman who proudly wants to carry their message of faith and freedom. When you shop with us, you're not just getting a t-shirt. You're joining a community of like-minded women who are proud to wear their beliefs straight on their tees. So whether you're sipping sweet tea on the porch or leading the charge for faith and freedom, do it in a Carry Girl tee. Because life's too short for stiff, boring tees. CarryGirl.com, where faith and freedom meets fashion.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And I'm back. It's the final half hour here in BZ's Saloon. I am the aforementioned BZ. I am bulbous, therefore I become bulbosity unrestrained. And tonight we have our luck to have the SHR minions here. See, the minions, they stole a great word from me, those assholes. I used to call everyone minions. And then I can't do it anymore because of a movie. Welcome to SHAUN. Welcome to Jersey Joe. Welcome to Big E. Welcome to Rick. And thanks to everybody for being here tonight. Like the new Snow White movie, where I guess the chick didn't want to sing the Snow White song. And now it's just, it's a shitload of shit.
There's so many things wrong with that movie.
Golly.
Since when is the Wicked Queen prettier than Snow White? What the hell?
And why would she be jealous at that point?
Because Snow White has a pure soul.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
Breaking leftist federal district court judge takes over presidential authority, removing it from POTUS. The judge modified his order barring enforcement of Trump's EO on DEI funding, now applies to all federal agencies throughout the United States. And there's the opinion right now. All federal agencies, not that those that were party to the lawsuit, but all federal agencies. And then there's this, more lawfare. Democrat judges, all leftists, guaranteed, all leftists. You find out who they contribute to and who they send money to and to whose party they go to, whose lovely little cocktail party they attend. They're working with Democrat AGs and Soros and NGOs to either block or delay President Trump's EOs aimed at reducing fraud, abuse, and waste. This time it's Biden-appointed judge, this one, Angel Kelly, ordering Trump to restore DEI funding to the National Institute of Mental Health. Now, this is the one I'm not going to stop to show you and discuss all the situations. By the way, thanks to the 150 people that are watching live right now. We thank you ever so kindly from the bottom of our hearts to the people that are watching live. For us right now, that is an amazing compliment, and we thank you ever so kindly from our very little souls in my fat little clotted heart before I get encounter with my factory-issued heart attack. This is from Margot Cleveland. Current federal cases challenging Trump admin with links to free docket at court listeners. So if you want to find out, if you want to look at these at your own leisure, if you wish, go to X, and it's Margot, M-A-R-G-O-T, Cleveland, just like the city, who happens to be a professor, imagine that, on X at PROF MJ Cleveland. And you can read these and go into all sorts of depth and detail. I'm just going to gloss over these. There's 20, I think there's a minimum of 27 of these things. State of New York versus Trump, First Second Court of Appeals. State of New York versus Trump, Rhode Island District Court, filed by 20 blue states challenging OMB directive. State versus New York versus Trump, Southern District of New York, lawsuit filed by 19 blue states challenging the admin having access and giving access to Doge. Number 5, American Fed of Government Employees versus Trump. 6, Dellinger versus Besant, District Court of Columbia, Global Health Council v. Trump. Pacto v. Clump, maybe a clump of Trump. Jones v. Trump, DC of DC. State of Washington versus Trump. State of Washington versus Trump, Ninth Circuit. American Federation of Government Employees v. Trump. Bellinger versus Besant, or versus Trump. Commonwealth of Massachusetts versus NIH. American Federation of Labor versus Trump. Alliance for 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, and there are probably more, and they keep going. So we know the Democrats, they don't have a leg to stand on in terms of a logical, cogent argument that people can rally around. And they're doing their level best to make sure that they shoot themselves in the foot. And for that, I say, great. First rule of holes, always let your enemy slaughter themselves when you can sit back essentially and do nothing and just watch. That's a wonderful thing. But they have found that their pike, their trebuchet, as Rick likes to refer to, and halberd staffs, those are working. And so this stuff will continue unimpeded. I found another article that it's like, this is from Government Executive. Well, I wonder whose side those people are on. Judge orders reinstatement for most fired probationary federal workers. Where is the proprietary interest in a probationary employee? That's how stupid this is. Under the precedents, Stephen Miller, I don't know if you guys, well, let me ask, what do you guys, you have any kind of an opinion on Stephen Miller, who I think is assistant chief of staff, if I'm not mistaken.
I think
I
he's
haven't
deputy
really-
chief in charge of policy, and I think he's been a brilliant spokesperson for Trump. I think he's great.
But he makes this point, which I think is an excellent question, and I've asked it before. I will ask it after I make this point. From him at Stephen Miller, or excuse me, at Stephen, Stephenm. Under the precedents now being established by a radical road cadre of judges, a district court in Hawaii could enjoin troop movements in Iraq. Judges have no authority to administer the executive branch or to nullify the results of a national election. We either have democracy or we don't. So, and I've been looking, and perhaps, this is the time when I miss. Anybody here remember? He was on SHR any number of times. Professor Michael Jones.
Yes.
Who was a constitutional scholar. And I used to bring him on the show and ask him just a shit ton of questions about the Constitution. And you guys asked earlier, and this is what I forgot to say, is in the process of instructing as a professor, when he taught con law, he said, all the people teach today is con law. They teach nothing about the history of the Constitution and just look at everything in a vacuum, just by itself. They don't look at the overarching or the umbrella or where the Constitution came from. They're not interested. They don't give a shit about that. And it's showing. The results are here. The results are in. So I went and looked and I found this. So I said, how does one judge in a given sole district have the ability to issue by fiat an order which affects the rest of the nation? And people have said, oh, well, from this article, Independent Voter News, Article 3 of the Constitution grants this power directly. And district judges are appointed by presidents for life, and ideology plays a crucial role. Huh, imagine that. And then there's this now, which I find unusual. While district judges do have the ability to stop executive orders, it is unusual.
Was.
Yeah, was.
It was unusual. Not so much anymore.
So, Rick, you started to attack this and said something similar to, if I'm quoting you properly, that this is something which likely shall not stand.
It shouldn't. I mean, the one example that you gave about enjoining of troops, that wouldn't be able to work anyway because they have a completely different legal system. So that wouldn't actually be able to happen. The Jags would just tear that apart. But everything else that they're doing, there's already precedent for all of this. At this point, what they are doing is, remember, and this is what the Democrats have been screaming the entire time, Trump is trying to elevate the executive branch above the separate but equal branches of government, and he's trying to make a dictatorship. The Democrats seem to be the ones doing that, but they're not doing it with the executive branch. They're doing it with the judiciary branch. The judicial branch at this point is now above both Congress and the executive branch until some of this stuff is adjudicated completely and all the way through to the Supreme Court. Because as of now, a judge can stop anything by just saying they can't do this. When in reality, and the zombie media and everybody poo-pooed Vance for saying this, but the truth of it is, when it's something that is codified in the Constitution as an executive branch power, it can't be stopped in the fashion that they are trying to stop it. And again, going back to you have to rehire all these probationary employees, the Supreme Court already said no to that in 1988. So why are we having this conversation again? Other than the fact that the Democrats are trying to see if they can get that tossed out. And they're doing everything they can to delay everything because BZ's right. There's a sunset clause on Doge. And with all of the cases that have now been filed, because last I remember there were only like 22. Now we're up to 31? So they filed even more that I haven't kept up with because I've been keeping up with everything else. But the thing about it is, this should be one of the first things that they do. And I would see if you could even get it passed in by law. And if it takes nuking the filibuster to do it, fine, nuke the fucking filibuster. I don't care anymore. But put it for every case that you file trying to stop Doge, we add another year to the sunset. Period.
It would absolutely be worth it. And then, of course, there's this. Ireland is imposing 125% tariff on imported U.S. goods. Until. Thanks, Rick.
I do want to give
Appreciate
Rosie
that.
O'Donnell
That's awesome.
credit. She's the only liberal, leftist, loony, nut bar, freaking former actor, stand-up comedian, whatever the hell she's done, that kept her words. They all said, including all of the harpies on The View, that if Donald Trump got into office again, they would leave the country.
There's a couple others.
I will give her this. She's the only one that kept her word.
There's a couple others.
There's a couple others. Ellen DeGeneres and Eva Longoria.
Yeah, but they went to
she's
Canada,
the only.
so technically they're going to have to come back eventually. 51st state.
But Rosie is the only one who's actually applying for citizenship in the country she went to.
You know, it was funny. Somebody
Ireland makes you though. You can only stay there so long without trying to become a citizen. Unlike
unless you come by a boat or from the Middle East.
Good point, Sean.
Correct.
Somebody said on X earlier today, they jokingly, and they're being sarcastic, they said, "Man, I miss Rosie O'Donnell." And I said, "Well, all you have to do is look east, and you can probably still see her even from America. So I don't think it's that much to miss."
Have you seen her on camera, dude? She's lost a lot of weight.
She has lost a lot of weight.
Yeah.
Let me throw this onto the stage because I think this is going to go. I think this is going to SCOTUS, if I'm not mistaken.
I was wondering if you had this one. I was going to mention it earlier, but I didn't want to step on your order. Because I saw that earlier, and I was like, ooh, that's going to be a big deal.
This could be really bigly, hugely, massively, bigly. Trump asks Supreme Court to step in on birthright citizenship. And my understanding is they've accepted this.
Yeah, I read that earlier.
They're going to pick it up. But yeah, if this happens, does anybody remember the nearly ending sequence of Kingsman when all the devices accidentally got set off? That's going to be Congress if this happens.
Oh my God. Oh, yeah. Wait, there's a media asset for that because I've displayed it before and it looks something similar to this.
Yeah, pretty much that right there.
Yeah, that's exactly what the hell is going to happen.
Can you imagine if anchor babies are no longer anchor babies?
Well, they were never supposed to be.
I know they were not supposed to be, but they became it. I wasn't supposed to be bald, but here I am. A lot of shit happens. But
I have imagined it. I just that given the way the court is right now, I'm not terribly optimistic.
Well, and here's the bonus about the Supreme Court. I think, and you have to remember where we are, I don't think Elena Kagan is going to be around. Not Elena Kagan.
Sotomayor.
Yeah, Sotomayor. I don't think she has a full Trump presidency left.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, elaborate, please.
She's been ill, both admittedly, and you can see her. Look, I don't wish ill upon anybody.
No, of course not.
She does look sickly.
I didn't know that.
And there's rumors, and again, rumors are rumors, but there are rumors in DC that if Kamala got elected, she was going to bow out pretty quickly. And now here we are. The question is, can she hold out long, survive Trump? And I don't know if she can. If you've seen her talk or anything lately, she does seem pretty sickly.
Yeah, I hadn't noticed that. Let me throw this also in. God, I have 3 more stories that I'd love to do, but they're all kind of in unison. But I'm probably going to have to throw this in first once. There's a study that just came out from Wisconsin, which said that in terms of voter ID, that there's no evidence, no statistically significant negative impact of Wisconsin's voter law on overall voter turnout. It's a new study from the Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty. Oh, God, I wish I could have had that if I'd been thinking, I would have had that video from the guy that questions all the people from New York. Hey, do you know where you can get a license? Do you know where you can go to vote?
Oh yeah, they all knew it.
Yeah, and of course, it's like this.
You know how I know the voter ID argument is starting to really fail against voter ID is California has enough votes to get a mandatory voter ID on the ballot the next election.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
And if that can happen in California just to get on the ballot, you know that theory is dying quickly. I hope to see it. I hope to see it before the next election, but I doubt it. But at least the election after that, beyond the midterms, the next presidential and general election. The other story out of California, I don't want to hijack 2 seconds. California was trying to essentially destroy their version of Stand Your Ground and make it a duty to retreat. That will be the author of that bill is going to remove it, and it is going to be dead after the newspaper headline said misdirection. Yep.
Well, would you be surprised? Looky there.
It was said that there was, I think the quote was certain falsehoods were released and now they're just going to kill the bill, i.e. everybody found out exactly what it was going to do.
And looky there. There it is too. But in Idaho, North Idaho, where
all you
I
had
have,
to do was read the bill.
That was the misleading information. That's what they didn't like that people found out. They read.
And did you see what happened in Illinois? There's an Illinois lawmaker who wants to legalize a tax on the police if they happen to have mental health issues.
Yes.
So that would be open warfare. And how many people would intentionally, leftists, go to their doctor and say, you know what? I'm feeling very bizarre. Can you critically indicate that I'm just kind of a crazy person and I need to have the ability to.
You don't even have to preload it. You get arrested and you get charged. The next day you walk into a doctor's office and said, I did this because I was depressed and angry. They write you the note, you bring it to court, case dismissed.
Yep.
So you don't even have to preload it. It's like, it'll be like a plan B rule. It's the morning after a diagnosis where it's you screw up, this happens, and then you go get.
The point is they're trying to take this to the next level because, not only can you use that as a get out of jail free card, but once you have that get out of jail free card, if you're really feeling froggy, you can go try to beat the shit out of a cop.
I don't think long term that would pass constitutional muster. But what it would bring up is the conversation is if people are that mentally disturbed, should they be out walking around? And that brings up another question of mental
Bring
health.
back mental asylums.
Hell yeah, send me.
Oh boy.
I need a vacation. I need a vacation.
So I know we're almost out of time, so we won't have time to play it. But have you guys seen the clip that Mays found that it's basically Obama describing a department just like Doge?
Yes. Yep. And he was going to appoint Joe Biden to be in charge of it.
If you have it, send me the link. Send me the link.
It's right here.
And I will put that up for all to see and enjoy. It's like bringing treats. And the teacher asks, did you bring enough for everyone?
I'm pretty sure that's it. If that's
then let's see if you brought enough for everyone. So here we go. Let me go to this and talk amongst yourselves. By the way, speaking of talking amongst yourselves, we have almost 220 people watching live right now. So thanks to everyone who is watching live. We greatly appreciate your patronizing this site.
Absolutely.
And being involved, and also being involved in the chat room. This is wonderful. The numbers are going up courtesy of KLRN and all the people that are replaying our media and our shows. And just as SHAUN has his own show, Edge of Liberty, Jersey Joe has his own show, Reaver of Common Sense, EARL has his own show, Mission Ready Men, and of course, Rick has his own show, the Rick Robinson Show, TRRS. And so here we go. I have not heard this. This will be unique for me. So let's see if we can play this now. Oh my God. The Maze at Maze More. Oh my God, this is not AI. It's real. It's a must watch. 2011, Obama announces a Doge department and puts Joe Biden in charge of it. Go.
Everyone knows that getting rid of the deficit will require some tough decisions. And that includes cutting back on billions of dollars in programs that a lot of people care about. But what should be easy is getting rid of the pointless waste and stupid spending that doesn't benefit anybody.
Really?
Waste we should be getting rid of, even if we didn't have a deficit. Sure, some of these cuts aren't that big, but no amount of waste is acceptable. Not when it's your money. Not at a time when so many Americans are already cutting back. Just as families are living within their means, government should too. Did you know the federal government pays for a website devoted to a folk music ensemble made up of forest rangers? They're called the Fiddlin' Foresters.
Damn, they're good.
I'll put their music on my iPod, but I'm not paying for their website. And there are hundreds of similar sites that we should consolidate or just get rid of. By the way, you're not only paying for websites no one needs, you're paying for thousands of buildings all across the country no one uses. For the last decade, the government's owned a massive and completely empty warehouse in the middle of Brooklyn, for example. Now, the government hadn't been able to sell this building and others like it because of red tape and Washington politics that held things up for years. But we're finally cutting through all that and plan to get rid of these buildings in the months ahead. We need to step up our game. We need to go after every dime. We need to make government work for you. That's why, starting today, I've asked the Vice President to lead a renewed effort to hunt down misspent tax dollars in every agency and department of this government.
He'll get right
We're
on
calling
top
it
of that.
the Campaign to Cut Waste. And I know Joe's the right man to lead it.
You bet.
Because nobody messes with Joe.
There's a new standard by which the government is going to function from this point on. The American people are entitled to transparency. Look, a lot of this depends on new, sophisticated methods, but it also, we know, depends on relentless focus on making this a priority.
Well, we all know Biden has relentless
We're
focus.
holding ourselves accountable. And we're deeply committed and focused on making government function better. We're not just eliminating fraud and waste. We hope to be instilling an entire new culture that not only our administration, but every succeeding administration will in fact pursue. We're going to give you the government you expect and deserve.
14 years ago, we expected and deserved that.
USDS, and I was just double checking on this, and even Snopes put on that Obama established the USDS in 2014, which Trump renamed as the U.S. Doge Service in 2025.
14 years ago, full 14 years ago, this was mystically, magically okay. Now, bad.
Well,
Evil.
remember, controlling the borders was okay too.
Didn't Clinton and Gore do something similar in the 90s?
Clinton and Gore did the same thing.
Yes.
I mean, so this has been a recurring theme with Democrats now since the 90s, and now all of a sudden somebody's trying to do it because, as BZ likes to put it, it's orange man bad, dude with the cat on his head. Is now it's all terrible, but this is a real thing. TDS Simplex 11T is real, and the Democrats have it.
It's TDS.
God, that's true.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yes. Well, folks, it has been a great show, and I'm glad. Thanks to everybody here for sending me material that I didn't have, and I was able to put it up on the screen. I greatly appreciate it. So, hey, folks, tell us where you can be found, and tell us about your show, because we got some shows coming very soon. Sean, how about you?
Monday and Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Pacific on SHR Media as well as KLRN. You can follow me at the number 2 Against Tyranny on X and wherever good podcasts are found.
And he really uses that app because he wants to take a number 2 on tyranny.
Oh boy.
Wait, what?
You guys. And Earl, where can we find your show and what is it?
My show is the Mission Ready Men Briefing on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 11 a.m. Central Time. And you can find me at Mission Ready Men on all the socials, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Truth Social. And you can find me there. And I'd love to chat with everybody.
Earl, by the way, thanks for staying up so late. Appreciate it. Jersey Joe, what about your show? Where can they find you and when?
Reverb Common Sense every Monday and Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's the right coast. Right here on SHR Media, all their social media outlets. You can catch me on Jersey Joe Talks on X.
And of course, Rick, where can people find your show? Please, sir.
You can follow along with me at Radovich73 on X. You can find the station at KLRN Radio. You can find me as the host of the Rick Robinson Show from noon to 3 Tuesday through Friday. You can find me as the host of America Off the Rails on Mondays. And you can find me as co-host of a plethora of other shows and producer of a plethora of other shows. Our schedule is available on KLRNradio.com because if I go through all of it, BZ is going to be begging me to be able to go to bed.
That's okay. That's okay. By the way, I should point out to everybody, 245 people watching live right now. Kind of very interesting. A nice damn shot. And again, to everybody, thank you for being here tonight. I think that's fabuloso. So, Rick, thank you for being here. Jersey Joe, thank you for being here. Big E, thank you for being here. And Sean, thank you for being here. I am BZ, and to that, I say something similar to, wait, what? God, I didn't get to drink tonight. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, thanks for being here tonight on the show. My personal thanks to Sean Lewis and to Jersey Joe and to Big E Earl Jackson, to Rick Robinson. Listen to all their great shows. I will be back next Tuesday. I don't really have anybody in mind for what I'm going to be there on Tuesday, but my brainulus is always working. And particularly with regard to the people that were watching, so many doggone people watching, it was absolutely fabulous. And I appreciate everyone who was here tonight. It's absolutely gorgeous, fabulous, wonderful. I'd be loving it and shit. So, as per normal, my promotional thanks and consideration to the Lockheed Martin Skunk Works, and also to Shure and Electro Voice microphones, and also to the people that make my board, my mixer, Arrakis, and also thanks to Pratt & Whitney Engines producing Thrust. You can trust. Tiaras are by My Little Pony, and I will be concerting with my KC-135 Kettle 1 refueling team in about 10 minutes or so. Thanks to everybody listening live. God bless. Take care. Everybody be safe. Thanks.
Everybody quiet down now and get some sleep.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, Mama. Night, Ben. Good night, everyone.
Good night, Mama. Good night, Daddy.
Good night, children. Good night, Daddy. Good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, John Boy. Good night, Jim Bob. Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, Jim Bob.
What's going on? I was asleep. What's everybody doing?
Good night,
Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, and good luck.